cars are 2x2 formation. Road change now, we go racing for the first time this season. 3 hours of GT action, it's go.
It's very tight as they come down. Group of cars coming in, this has all got trouble written all over it. This is G3 cars.
Drop downhill there, head towards the Aqua Minerale. Imola, of course. There's another one off through the gravel. As wide as possible as they drop downhill, put it down from the inside line. Yes, he did. Through he goes.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome along to round 4 of Apex Online Racing Sprint Cup Series. This is Tier 2, and tonight we are installed for 90 minutes of Spa. Slight change to how we normally do things as well. Fueling is allowed this time round, so varying fueling strategies will be in play, and although you desperately need tyres, there is no mandatory tyre change as per normal. So all change this evening here at Spa. Just joining us at the end of free practice, so qualifying should be coming up in just under 2 minutes, but just getting us all in. So there is the chance of mixed weather, which we might see, but at the moment the practice session looking lovely and dry, 24 degrees, which is a lovely temperature. Not too hot, not too cold, exactly what you want for trying to manage tyres. So, a little bit of a break last time round. We didn't actually get to see on screen the stream from Laguna Seca, but we'll have a quick run through the little bit of results. So, our winner last time round with a massive improvement was Jonathan Clifford with first place. His previous best was a 14th, so great effort from him. And then it was Weber in second place and Callaway in third. So, those two in third and fourth in the championship respectively as well. So championship rundown. Currently leading the championship still is Jimmy Holm with a 10th place, a second place and a fourth place. And then we have Hoshi in second with a third and a first. And then we obviously Callaway with a 5th, 13th and third. Weber with a, well actually only a third and a second, so actually wasn't able to start the first race. And then rounding out the top 5 is Josh Waring with a second, a 23rd and a 6th. So everybody really close together. So leader with 199 points, and all the way down, if you look inside the top 10, 10th is with 129 points. So realistically, not that much between any of them. So just coming towards the end of this practice session, and the timer goes to 0 now, so any moment we will transfer across to qualifying. Do stay ready and waiting for that one. I know, you've just seen it in the chat now, something I am very, very jealous of. Mr. M saying went to Spa for the 24 hours. Yeah, that was the CrowdStrike 24 hours of Spa that was just recently. Absolutely fantastic race. I sat at home and watched as much of it as I possibly could. It did seem very good. Sadly, my team, kind of at 88, the Acodis ASP car only came second. Thought they were going to chase down Roa Racing BMW, but no chance. Roa Racing showing just how good they really are. If anyone's a little bit confused, that is the real life 24 hours of Spa as opposed to the sim racing Spa that we're putting on for you now. Everyone coming into the pits, just waiting for the countdown timer to go. I think nearly everyone is in the pits, bar a few cars still out there. So when the 15-minute qualifying session should start pretty soon. And round here at Spa, that really isn't that long of an amount of time. You think each lap, your out lap's probably going to be sort of 2 minutes 30, if not more. So you immediately lose a good old chunk of it just getting it going. So who is going to be our first car out the pits? Once they spread out slightly on the circuit, we'll be able to see which car is first out. It's looking like possibly car number 351 of Hamlin. Let's have a look. No, there is someone else out in front of them actually. Looks like car number 32 of Rutter. So we will keep watching over Rutter for a moment, just as he starts his out lap. I say all of these laps will not be... all these cars will not be setting a fast lap this time around. They'll be desperately trying to get some warmth into those tyres. Track only fast at the moment, so it should improve up to optimum at some point. Once the cars have done a few laps, get some warmth into the tyres, that then goes into the tarmac. Lap brings, there you go, already up to optimum to be fair. There we go, lovely. So 23 degrees ambient and 23 degrees track temp at the moment. Looking like it's going to be sunny the whole way out and stay dry for all of qualifying. And I see Morphe. Yes, I do somehow manage to get my feral internet in the wild to do 1080. I don't know how, but it somehow does. So yeah, fingers crossed it lasts throughout the night as always. So at the moment, it's all looking good on my end, but you never know. Sometimes the old Somerset internet does throw a wobbly. Hopefully no interruptions this time round. Yeah, just seeing in the chat as well, people continuing to talk about the 24 hours of Spa. It was a really good race. Real shame to see so many of the Lamborghinis drop away. So hopefully the same fate does not go into our Lamborghinis here this evening. Because I think it was only maybe one or two of them that actually made it to the line out of the... Well, there's quite a few of them there originally. Although I think one of them did come first in class. So this is it. First flying lap. Rutter, our first man out the gate. So I think what we might do is jump on board and see what we can have a bit of a ride along with him on his dashboard. Full commitment, flat to the floor there through Radion, keeps it together, a little bit of a skip of the car as it comes up over the exit. But now up the Kemmel Straight, absolutely planted to the floorboards towards Lacoon. Well done. I don't imagine this is going to be his fastest lap. Sometimes it's best to put in a banker lap here at Spa because lots of things can go wrong. So sometimes you want to put in a sort of a 80% lap, so at least you're not at the back of the grid. But to be fair, really going for it at the moment, Rutter. Throwing it in. All the way out to the outside again. Sort of a very strange double apex here. Really careful not to exceed track limits. And pushing on now down. Gets it done. Rolling it in through the S's. Okay, put flat to the floor towards campus. Again, really easy to go wide here. Oh, that's just about within track limits. Easy to go wide here as well, keeps it nice and neat. Oh, there's a yellow flag at the top of Radion there. It was kind of 808. Yeah, it has returned to the pits, obviously pushed a little bit too hard. So now, through Blanchemont, flat to the floor, just keeps within track limits here, going to get on the brakes before the bus stop chicane. Very neat and tidy. This has been a textbook lap, and Rutter really doing a good job here. And let's watch him across the line and see what the benchmark for everyone else is. 2:17.772. That's a really strong lap time. That's a fantastic lap time. I mean, that is borderline what we saw out of Tier 1 last night. That's a really good effort there from Rutter. Josh Waring, though, comes in. Josh Waring also showing just how quick he is. Some big names out there again this evening at the moment. Josh Waring topping the times, though. That's 2 McLarens on the front row. Although Spa is not a circuit I particularly enjoy racing at, simply because I am awful at racing, it is an absolutely fantastic track to watch. The technicality of it, this pure raw pace and the commitment needed by the drivers is absolutely fantastic to watch. Oh, I think, and someone goes off in front. That was car number 99. Had a big slide and went off. I might actually be able to find that somewhere. I'm sure that was car number 99 that we just saw go flying. Or was that not number 999? Trying to see if there is a car number 99. It might have been a case of I was just very blind and didn't actually read the number correctly. Possibly 92. That was the 199 apparently. Oh, there we go. See, someone with much keener eyes than me managed to find that one. Oh, and they have returned to the pit. If I go back 30 seconds, are we going to catch it? No, sadly we just caught them in the pit. It's a little bit too far out. So someone on a decent improvement is Vukoski. 0.2 up on the best time. Oh, actually, to be fair, an even better improvement actually is Hamling, who is 0.7 up on their lap time. So hopefully we'll jump back forward in a moment. We'll be 30 seconds down the road, probably right near the end of this lap. Yeah, so coming into the bus stop chicane. Here we go. 0.9 of an improvement. This is going to be absolutely massive. There we go. Hamling up into pole. And where did... yeah, Hamling with a massive improvement. 2:17.2 there. Yeah, so a little question coming up in the chat here. How does the driver go up or down a tier, if I may ask? So basically, before the season... Oh, man, sorry, I'll quickly just say that. Manson getting himself onto pole position there with a very, very low 2:17.032. We might be scraping into the 16s, I think, towards the end of this qualifying session. So let's get someone on track on a nice improvement, and then I will discuss how it works. So basically you have to do qualifying times on hot stints, and that gets you the idea of your pace. Then you have to do at least one, it's a qualifying race. So essentially they look at your racecraft. It's not about winning, it's about how you can drive in a pack of very similarly fast cars, looking at your racing etiquette. Depending on how you get on, and if you are a long-term AOR racer, they can also look back at your data previously to see where you were last time, whether you've improved, whether you've slowed down. That will put you in your initial tier at the beginning of the season. And then obviously as you get to the end of the season, depending on how you've done throughout the championship. Generally, if you win the championship, or in the top 5, that usually puts you in contention for going up a tier the next season. But then obviously it does come round to the hot stints again for the next season, and they will look at your time as you may have had no practice at all and have got slower, or you may have got much quicker, and so then you will go up a tier. Really it's a case of looking at how you did last season, how your racecraft is currently, and working it out from there. Obviously you do get some people that will sandbag a little bit in the pre-sessions to get themselves into a lower tier so they can win the races, but usually if you are ridiculously quick they will just move you up a tier mid-season. Although you don't tend to get moved down mid-season. It's very rare that I've known of anyone being moved down mid-season. It tends to be a case of you are left to keep going. Oh, and there we go, Hamling into the 2:16s with a 2:16.997. So yeah, really it is a case of the more you drive and the quicker you drive, the more likely you are to move up a tier, but there are no guarantees for it. Just winning the championship does not mean you'll be in the next tier above. Simply depends, again, on how you do in the pre-race or pre-season hot stints. Another improvement there, 2:16 from Weber, well, 2:16.6. Big gap between him and Waring at this point. And Waring going out the pits again, so we're just over 5 minutes left of qualifying. And realistically is an outlap and maybe 2 more if they can squeeze it in. I'm with Alpha at the moment, who is 0.2 up on their best. Although it looks like they're coming up to a bit of traffic. Yes, they are, stuck behind the 199 car. It's up to you to make the room. Obviously, 199 will not be in pairing on purpose, but you do have to let, you know, they are entitled to do a lap, however fast that may be. The Porsches did struggle here last night, to be honest. Oh, we're going to try and go for an overtake of quali. It could be so tempting to try and get past, but backs out. Backs out completely at that point. Yes, we will get a little bit of... Whereabouts is he? So this is Toulouse. Where is Toulouse? He is somewhere on the list. Here he is, Alex Toulouse. Yeah, in the Nissan GTR, which is absolutely bizarre to see it this far up the tiers in Apex Online Racing. It really shouldn't be here. Somehow Toulouse has piloted this car up towards the pointy end of the tier system, and in fact Toulouse had some really good races this season as well. Let's have a little jump back and see sort of what we've had out of him. I say as I'm suddenly going completely blind and missing his name every time I scroll. Ah, there we go, running 13th in the championship, so they've had a 9th place, a 34th place, not so great, and then a 7th place. So we've seen this car multiple times across the line within the top 10, which normally if you would say, oh yeah, there's a Nissan GTR in the league, they're very rarely in the top 10. Very, very rarely. So absolutely fantastic to see that car pushing forward and somehow inside the top 10. And actually, at the moment, pretty much equal to their last lap. And in fact, yeah, definitely getting a good run now. So they'll have this and maybe one more lap afterwards to try and set the time. Fastest lap so far has been a 2:18.032. Very, very tyre dependent car, this Nissan GTR. Got to be really, really careful with how you handle the tyres, and Spa is one of those circuits that is very tyre heavy. Lots of commitment. You're really hoping that the mechanical grip can save you and that you don't have to run too much aero, as you will lose a lot of speed in certain places. We saw that last night. Cars that were running low aero were doing really well on the straights, but obviously struggling like mad. Luckily it stayed dry for them last night in Tier 1. So is there anyone in the top that is on big improvements? Looking at the time, so we've got Porsche and Clifford, who are doing really well. And to be fair, Clifford was our winner last time round, wasn't he? Yes, so we're going to jump on board with Clifford. That 999 Lamborghini. Almost looks a little bit like the K-Pax Racing livery. Probably flying around the circuit, making absolutely mincemeat of all of it. So 1 minute and 30 seconds left. So I would say in a moment, in about 10 seconds time, it's going to be the last chance people get to cross the line. So there will be people that are on laps and they will be desperate to get across the line and get it sorted. And Clifford has actually lost a little bit of time as he heads towards Blanchimont. Can he get any of it back? Current dead heat with their fastest time. It is interesting to see how people's times ebb and flow throughout this Spa circuit. I think, well, this season started post the new cars. So this is a question that's answering for the chat. If you change cars, generally the rule is that you will lose all your championship points for doing so. just realised that Albin Manson has actually got themselves into second place again. No one managed to get Webber out of the way yet, of Webber. Nearly on pace. That seems like an absolutely perfect team name for this car. Bear in mind they are running in second, only very slightly in second. And in fact, if we look at that, the top 20 cars all within a second of each other. So yes, you can change cars mid-season, but oh, there we go. Look, Morphy, one of the moderators, he could let us know. Yeah, but you can do one change per season, but you will lose all your championship points. So you have to really want the change. It's not just a case of, oh, willy-nilly, let's just change to make it better. As some cars do go better at different circuits, it has to be a pretty well thought out decision. Mueller on a massive improvement here, 0.5, currently running in 8th. This could see them fly up the order. 3rd place, and that is going to be their last attempt at an improvement. So having a little look now. So we've got Horsey currently flying through the S's. Beautiful livery on the Optimum Motorsport car. It's a lovely little livery, that car. Still 0.1 up on their time. Manson as well is 0.1 up. Just having a little look to see if there's anyone on any vast improvements further down the grid. I think most people are not. Oh, that might be one for Morphy, to be fair, about custom BOP. I don't think so, because obviously the BOP can change in-game. You do just tend to find that the new cars do get a lot of love for champion for the seasons, so that tends to be why you get them. So Horsey coming across the line, 0.5 up on their time. It's going to be an improvement. They were in 10th, now up to 5th. Big improvement from them. So is there anyone else out there on a flyer? 1 or 2 people still out there. Oh, and I don't think that was a valid time. That's a real shame. They're 1.6 seconds up on their best. Oh, Larby coming across the line. Thundering great V8 of the Mercedes was in 20th, now up to 14th place. Really good finish. Holm, yes, Jimmy Holm is here. Yes, car number 777. Jimmy Holm is here in the Holming missile. If we can spot him, there he is. Jimmy Holm in the Holming missile. One of the greatest names. Oh, hello. This is a big improvement for Mateus. Was in 21st. Oh, and it obviously wasn't a valid lap. It wasn't a valid lap, so stays in 21st. That was a massive improvement. So yeah, for anyone listening that is not reading the chat, yes, confirmation there from one of our moderators that there is no custom BOP in the Sprint series. As the in-game one does change fairly frequently, and they do tend to sort things out as quickly as possible. By the time we've managed to sort something out on our end, they probably change the BOP again and ruin everything we put together. Right, so let's run through our starting grid. Let's change the camera a little bit as well, because that is a rubbish one. There we go. You can kind of see the cars a little smidgen from there. So, in pole position is Mateus Weber, followed by Manson in 2nd, Mueller in 3rd, Martin in 4th, Horsey in 5th, Josh Waring in 6th, and then we've got Hamling in 7th, Boyfroy in 8th, Bukowski 9th, and rounding out the top 10 is Verdier. So moving down into 11th is Manuel Rutter. Jonathan Clifford, 12th place. Jimmy Holm in the Holming missile is 13th. Lavi in 14th place. Kimechik, or Kimmy, I believe it was in the chat, everyone was calling them last time round, in 15th place. Schaefer in 6th place. Kubaki, car number 966, 17th place. Kargaloo in 18th place. And Demira in 19th place. Kevin Niles in 20th. So that rounds out the top 20. And we have Mateusz Kachowski in 21st place. Dumoulin in 22nd position. McLeod, 23rd. Jean-Michel Brin in 24th place. James Cowley in 25th. Bouquet in 26th. Bjorkvist, 27th. 28th is Toulouse in that lovely, lovely Nissan GTR. Kogut Kogut in 29th place, Louis Alexandra in 30th, Ziege in 31st, and this is David Shrizeki. Sorry, I do apologise. This is one name I always really struggle with, and I always struggle with it. I do apologise. I believe it's Schweizki. So apologies. Probably going to go with Carnival 808 or David on that one. Trying to call that one out very quickly in the middle of a turn can sometimes be a bit of a case. But just under 2 minutes until the formation lap begins. So going to see how it goes. Lots and lots of mid-engined cars all up the front of the grid. Not that many of the sort of more classic front-engine rear-wheel drive cars actually left on the grid at this point in time. There's a couple of Mercedes and a couple of BMWs throughout the season, but the rest of them all very much the same, apart from obviously the GTR. You know, we'll let them know. Another question coming through here: how many people usually in the lobby and tier? I think normally the maximum amount of cars is 40. The tiers do vary, just depending on what your timing's like. There's no point sort of filling tier 1 to the absolute brim if there is a bit of a sudden drop off in pace or race quality. Same for all the tiers, really. They tend to kind of try and spread them out so they're nice and equal. You always get plenty of people. Doesn't matter whether you're in tier 1 or tier 10, there will always be plenty of people very similar pace to you to race against. But normally somewhere between 30-40 people. Oh, there we go. 40. Yeah, there we go. Between 45 to 50 people at the start. That does tend to sort of ebb and flow a little bit, depending on some people don't like sticking around if their championship's going absolutely awfully, and some people sign up and then don't actually ever bother racing, which is sometimes I do find surprising. You look on the list and you're like, oh, there's someone that could not start the entire season. Although that was me in tier 9 last season, as I decided I would actually bother to. I decided to qualify and see how I would do. Got into tier 9 last time round, but obviously couldn't race because they all race at the exact same time as this stream goes out. So I had to pull out of each and every race individually. But I just wanted to see where I would place time-wise. And yeah, tier 9. So as I said, not the fastest driver by any means, but I like to think I'm a fairly clean racer. But I don't get any time to practice because I'm always in the booth. I'm always doing this. Actually, Ferraris did really well last night in tier 1. So Jimmy Holm, we might see a vast improvement from him over the space of the evening. Obviously, being a 90-minute race and the car's not able to hold enough fuel to run the full 90 minutes flat out, there is fueling allowed this time. Normally it is not allowed. So that is you have to do one mandatory pit stop. You need to grab some fuel when you're there. A madman could possibly go for a no tyre change, as I believe in the settings there is no mandatory tyre change this time round. But anyone that decides to go the full 90 minutes on one set of tyres rather than sticking some on while you're getting fuel, yeah, is certainly taking a very obscure risk, because there's no real time gain in the pits when you've got to fuel anyway. Oh, car number 21, that is Michelle Bryn, sorry, Jean-Michel Bryn in the pits. So I think they missed the countdown timer to get out on the warm-up lap. So they will be starting from the pits, which is absolutely awful. It's a long old drive out of these pits. And they'll be starting on cold tyres as well. Those tyres will be getting ever colder as they are sat there. Everyone else able to go out and get a little bit of warmth, try and get some heat into the brakes so that soak down through the wheels and into your tyres. The track already optimum. Temperature is 25 degrees, so a little bit warmer than it was in qualifying and practice. So I imagine last minute adjustments to tyre pressures would have been going on. So one of the drivers to keep an eye on this evening is going to be Jimmy Holm in the homing whistle. He's had a really good season so far. Mr. M, yes, there is an ongoing endurance championship going on at the moment. I think there is maybe 1 or 2 rounds left. Oh, I think it's 1 round left. Due to the sheer length of those races and the fact that they are normally run on a weekend, I don't think there's been much coverage of it here this season. We do usually try and put championship season, the endurance seasons out on streams as well. But this season it's just been a case of, obviously being summer, everyone's very busy, lots of time taken up. Oh yeah, there we go, it's only Kailami left on the endurance season, just coming through there. Oh, fantastic circuit, to be fair, Kailami. I believe that's the 15th, the last round. So there may be coverage. It won't be from me personally, but there may be someone out there putting the coverage out. If not, I'm sure you better, if you just search Apex Online Racing or AOR on YouTube, there will be in-car streams coming from different teams. So just coming into Sector 3 now. We'll see everyone get geared up and ready for the race. And if anyone is not sort of that familiar with Spa, it's one of those obscure circuits where the start line is different to the finish line. So they actually go past the finish line and then turn the corner and start running downhill towards Eau Rouge. That's where the start is, and we're just waiting on the green lights before they go. Everyone now just cruising at the moment. They should be probably starting to stack up. Oh, car number 32 is back in the pits as well. Car number 32. Who was that? Car number 32. Oh, that was Rutter. So why has Rutter gone back to the pits? He definitely was out on the outlap. I wonder if there may have been a setup change there. I wonder if possibly still had the qualifying setup and therefore wasn't running enough fuel to make it through, and so decided to start from the pits. So one corner left to go, and then the final run down the hill. Everyone has stacked right up. We're going to stay on helicam for a little bit just so we can get an overview of everyone. We will try and go back if there is any kind of incident in turn 1 / turn 2, but we'll do our best. So what you do tend to find is the back of the grid is barely round this corner. It can be quite a challenge. But our leaders stacking up the first 2 rows, raring awaiting, and Manson very keen to try and get a good jump on Weber. So final run to the line now, just waiting on that green light. And there we go, lights are green, and it's a really good start from Manson, staying level pegging. Are they going to try and go side by side through turn 1? Yes, they are. So far, so good. Everyone clean. I don't think there's been too much argy-bargy. There's no yellow flag yet. Really well done from Tier 2. Really impressed. And again, Tier 2 really showing that not necessarily quite as quick, but much, much cleaner racing at the middle through turn 1 and 2. So that's the main thing. So now heading up into Lacoon. Again, no yellow flags there. Sticking on board with our leaders at the moment. Still squabbling it out. 3rd and 4th also squabbling significantly. As they fly down the hill through Bruxelles. Towards Speakers. Blinging it in again. Oh, and there has been now a yellow flag for car number 31. And that is Bouquet. We'll jump back on the relay and see what we can get. So we jump on board with a very, very stacked field. As they came through the Kong. Where does it all go wrong? What happened here? Go. Oh, there we go. There was a little bit of a bump. Just got collected. Oh, and then it gets another little clip as well. So that did not go how they wanted it would. How they would have wanted their first lap to go. They do get the car moving again. So back on board with our leaders as they're coming towards the end of their first lap. So the cars will not be at full race temperature yet. This is their outlap, and normally on an outlap you sort of think to yourself, well, let's try and conserve the tyres a little bit and get them up to temp, but not for these guys. They are on it immediately, pushing as hard as possible. It's a lovely shot there as you look back towards Pochemon. You can just see how lovely the row of cars coming through. So actually only 4 cars have dropped off the pace. Let's see if everyone can get through the chicane as well. Oh, a little bit choppy further back. Oh, a little bit further back than that. Let's see if we can get it. Here we go. Right, so side-by-side racing going on now. So, oh, a little bit choppy. What's going on here? This is jumping on board with Arlavi in the Mercedes, who is right on the back of Schaefer. waiting for the timing board to sort itself out. It won't necessarily change. Everyone here keeping it nice and close together. Oh, a couple of people there definitely taking advantage of the low curve. The Mercedes trying to get the run now up the hill. I'm amazed that Porsche is actually managing to hold its own. It must be running an absolutely zero wing angle to try and get as little downforce as possible. And even the great big Mercedes didn't manage to outpace the Porsche. Really, oh, and someone's gone off there as well. Car number 312. I think that was all on their own. Didn't see any contact. We'll jump back on. Oh, maybe a slightest rub on that near side front corner, and they just ended up going over the curb and over-rotated the car, managing to rejoin, and luckily did not end up in the wall as well. Right, so battle for 7th seems to be heating up just a little bit now. That battle 0.3 of a second between them. Malfoy, currently running in 7th, does appear to be getting caught though by Verdier. And this is the kind of circuit where you're already absolutely at your limit, and then you've got someone coming up behind you, sniffing around your ankles like an angry Jack Russell at the postman. And there's not a lot you can do. You just have to keep trying to go as quickly as possible. Try not to slow yourself down defending too much, but I think we might see a move here into the bus stop. Really good run from Verdier. Oh, are we going to see anything on the brakes here? Goes to the inside, really shows his nose, but definitely couldn't get the braking down. That was a big old gap to try and take up, and decided better than trying to outbrake Malfoy in front of him, and just sticks together. Oh, bit of a mistake there. I think that was from Hamling. Oh, no, it wasn't. It was from Kimi. Got a little bit unsettled coming out the bus stop. Oh, there's a side-by-side battle going on here. Car number 966 versus 999. That's not going to be confusing at all to try and read with my dyslexia. So this is Kubaki versus Clifford. And they've actually opened up quite a bit as they come up towards Radion. They both come flying through, absolutely nailed to the board their throttles. So the battle at the front. Oh, we might have a move here. Yes, we do! Move for 3rd place then. And Horsey does go through. How on earth he managed to get that car stopped and round? We're going to jump back and see if we can get it here. Watch it again. Just gets the car in front and gets on the brakes and manages to stop the car before the apex. Really beautiful bit of driving there. That was some serious stuff. And I don't really know what Victor Martin had to do there. He just kind of had nothing he could do apart from concede that position as they went flying around the outside of him. Really well done by Horsey. He's been a good driver all season. Quickly jump back on board with Kimicek, who has got the homing missile behind him, and then Hamling in front. Two very, very fast drivers. Two drivers that definitely know how not only to set fast times, but really know their racecraft as well. They will not be easily pushed around. They won't be easily spooked by a sudden set of lights flashing on them behind them, which luckily we haven't seen any of so far this race, being the daytime. Hopefully we won't see too many people penalised for excessive flashing. So everyone at the moment reasonably well settled. It always gets a little bit scary as they come through here. The bus stop, obviously, such a change of pace. You come absolutely flat out through Blanchemont, and then you've got to anchor up and get all the way down to 1st gear, barely moving as you go through the chicane. But looking at it now, just having a quick jump on board with our leader, Weber, who has set the fastest lap of the race with a 2:17.790. Has got a little bit of a gap away, but nothing to sort of write home about as of yet. This is certainly not a runaway race. Just under 8 minutes of this race done so far. I'm really pleased to see that nearly everyone is still out there and no one has just completely called it a day. In fact, both drivers that we saw start from the pits as well, they are still out there. And Dumoulin, who we saw have issues, and that was lap 1. Oh, car number 808. Oh, that's one of the Your Way racing cars. Can we get it? Oh, a big spin at the top. Good evening, Tucker. No, you can't get rid of me. Tier 1 and Tier 2 now. 2 days a week, I'm filling your ears. Yes, there is. You can get license points and penalties for excessive flashing. The issue is, obviously, if a car in front of you, you're battling for position, they have no reason to let you pass. So flashing, you can do it once or twice. That's fine. But you can't continuously flash. At that point, you're just being a nuisance to other drivers. You know, there's nothing worse than when you're trying to drive, especially in a night race, and you've got someone that's just pulsing a strobe behind you the entire time. It doesn't do anything apart from distract you, and it's just kind of unsportsman-like behaviour. So we do penalise for over-flashing. Obviously, if it's a blue-flagged car in front of you, yeah, you can give them a bit of a flash. But again, it is up to you, the faster car, to make the pass happen. So just flashing at someone continuously until they get out of the way isn't how it works. You've got to try and sight it. But here, going into Blanchimont, someone who does not need to flash is Victor Martin. And we might see a move here down at the breakers over the bus stop. He does look to the inside. He's also going to have to be careful that Waring doesn't try and push through. Another very fast driver, to be fair, this entire top 10. A very, very strong field. I mean, even the top 15. The entire grid is incredibly close. As they push on for another lap. No new fastest lap at the moment, but it's looking like possibly Horsey is becoming a little bit of a cork in the bottle, and the top 3 starting to get away. And Victor Martin will be desperate to get past so he can try and open up the taps on that car and start chasing after Mueller, running in 3rd in that Audi. On car number 808, again having problems. That was down by Blanchimont, I think, this time round. We will jump back, see if we can spot what happened here. No, flashing isn't always a warning to say, I'm behind you. Quite often it is a case of people flashing to say, get out my way. Oh, I think that car sustained some rear end damage because it just over-rotated as it came through Blanchimont. A real sign that there is just absolutely no rear aero left on a car. I would not be surprised if we see that car in the pits at some point. Once the replay has caught itself back up. There we go. Yeah, car number 808 in the pits, repairing that rear end damage. There's an open pit strategy this evening, so I'd be surprised if a car could go 1 minute to 1 hour and 20 minutes on a single fuel tank, but they might be able to make this their mandatory stop if they then run a lower fuel consumption map. They won't be as fast on circuit, but they may be able to gain a couple of positions just by running in free air when they do re-emerge from the pits. But yeah, you do get some people, they just constantly flash the lights. And they use it as a way of trying to distract the car in front, just to gain a position. But that's not how it works. Even if a car is slower than you, you have to work out a way to get past it. That is part of the racecraft. It's not just about hot laps, it's about how you can handle the car in a group of other cars as well. And the issue can be, when you are practicing out and about in the wild, in public lobbies, you might be the fastest driver by a long, old way. But when you come into this lobby and everyone is around within a second of you each lap, you suddenly find your normal, oh, I can just dive up the inside here, there and everywhere. That doesn't work anymore, and that can drive some people absolutely potty. Arlavi on the back of Cowley. Possibly something here at the bus stop. Tries to go around the outside on the brakes. Massive dive. Goes super deep. You have to be very careful with their rejoin. That was a pretty careful rejoin. I think they're probably going to lose a position as well, though, to Schaefer. I'd be very surprised. Schaefer doesn't get through. Schaefer does. They're still side by side now as they jump down through the source. It does lose a position. Schaefer now in front. Very much a squabble going on, and a squabble just behind as well. McLeod and Bjorkvist. Oh, they're super close. We're going to go back to this one. Oh, who was that went super deep? I think they might have even clipped the inside wall. I want to say that was Alexandra who ended up clipping the wall. A little bit of a squabble still going on just in front as well. So this one heating up, and the Arlavi battle as well heating up. There are squabbles all across the field at the moment. Just seeing a car number 18 of Niles all on his own. He needs some company. Where is car number 18 running at the moment? Let's see if we can get them up on the screen. I am not even able to see car number 18 on my title screen. Absolutely not. This is when I'm sure someone in a moment is going to tell me it's right there in front of my face and I'm just being blind. There we go. Niles. Okay, well, Niles is coming up at car number 444. So, 18th place. There we go. That's what you meant in the chat. Thank you for confusing me, JF. I appreciate that so much. Yeah, car number 444, kind of just out in clear air at the moment. Doing 219s at the moment as well. So, he's the fastest. Everyone behind him is definitely lapping slower than him. But at the moment, everyone in front of him is lapping a bit quicker. So I can only see realistically, bar any issues, that at the moment, at his current pace and the same pace for everyone else, the gap around him is going to sort of just continue to get bigger behind and bigger in front. So Kimi running in 11th place. Now really is under pressure from the homing missile. There we go. So that's Mr. M in the chat as well, saying that he added the flasher to his controller scheme and didn't realise it wasn't just a warning. Yeah, so you can use it as a warning. And you're not the only controller racer. BGS Black Goldsaw is one of our racers that uses a controller, and we've actually got a mouse and keyboard racer in here, and I feel awful that I cannot remember their name off the top of my head. So this is Cargaloo. So Cargaloo races with a mouse and keyboard, which I find absolutely incredible. Yeah, there we go, Cargaloo. So we'll jump on board with them now, running in 17th place. So, I mean, faster than I am by a long way. Like everyone's saying it's Cargaloo, it's Cargaloo. The Cargaloo fans are coming out. So running in 17th place at the moment and doing a lovely effort. What sort of laps are we looking at here? We're looking at high 218s for Cargaloo and for the stability control 88. And actually, yes, it runs the same livery as Black Goldsaw in Tier 1, who obviously runs a controller. And is this a back marker in front? It has to be a back marker. Oh, there we go. Charles Phillips is also apparently another keyboard warrior. And normally that's a negative thing, but there we go. I think actually last time Cargaloo had the issue towards the end of the race. I think that might have been Donington actually, so round 2. Had the issue where the mouse was actually starting to hit the keyboard and was struggling to get turn in, or either on left or right hand turns. So different issues that can be faced when you're using different hardware. Anyone that can do this without a wheel, it really is, you know, pretty impeccable. And yeah, there we go. Tucker just coming in and saying in the chat, with dexterity like that, they should be surgeons. Yeah, they definitely should. It really does show some serious hand-eye coordination that I do not have. So the battle continuing on at the moment. Jimmy Holm still very much in it. Kimi, Vikoski, and I believe it's Hamling who is leading this pack. He is indeed. Oh, kind of a 189 off with the yellow flag. And that was our Larvae. Oh, and it's one of the... Yeah, it was that battle we saw going on. They were very, very close. So there was an incident there at the bus stop. Porsche running very, very deep. And then this is down towards turn 1. What goes on here? We've got a Honda flying up the inside. What happens here? A bit of a squabble going on behind, and he just gets collected and rotated round. Oh, and he's got nowhere to go. Really, really bad spot to have to stop. Does very, very well to get themselves off and away. I mean, that was super lucky for Olavi not to get any more damage. Oh, there was a very brief yellow flag there for car number 12. It would appear that the Somerset internet is possibly throwing a little bit of a wobbly. Here we go. Apparently on my end it's going fine. Right, okay, gonna have to quickly just cut away for a moment and we'll get back to the action as soon as possible. Apologies as always for this. So it does sometimes happen. It just decides to have a bit of a disconnect. I think it helps that the weather outside has absolutely gone berserk here in the UK. So should be able to jump straight back in. So hopefully we won't miss too much of the action. It always happens at the worst of times. Just trying to get some things up on screen. So on board at the moment with Hamling, and we should hopefully get everything else back up and running very soon. I do apologise for everyone at home. Just sticking on board with Hamling at the moment while we have a little bit of technical issues. Right, so going to have a little 2-minute break here, I'm afraid. So I'm going to pop you back on the other screen for just a moment so I can get full control of the cameras again. ACC throwing an absolute wobbly for whatever reason, which is always joyous. So do stick with us, and I apologise for the small interruption. So stream is still on, and I do apologise. Just have to hang on 5 moments while we just get things back up and running. Sadly, the timing software does tend to throw an absolute wobbly after a brief disconnect. And that does mean the game has to be completely restarted on our end in the broadcast area. So getting it back up and running as quickly as possible for everyone at home. For now, you get to enjoy the lovely thumbnail that was put together. Very soon we will be back. And thank you for anyone that has stuck with us through this small technical period. And hopefully we haven't missed too much. There we go. Should all be back. Hope there it is. Lovely job. Sorry about that. Good old-fashioned Somerset internet. If anyone is from the UK, and they probably know what it's like, it can be an absolute pain in the bottom. We shall say that. All the joys of streaming from home. So hopefully you should be able to get the chat back up. Hopefully everyone didn't leave. There we go. We're back. I say, yeah, sorry to everyone at home. Right, so the battle's continuing on track. Let's have a bit of a catch back up with our leaders. So Weber, who is actually really under attack from Manson now. Manson, I do believe, is a mid-season joiner as well. Normally, what we tend to do is sort of midway through the season, we open back up the tiers to allow people to join mid-season, as obviously you always get a few dropouts or people that just don't actually start the season at all. So to keep everything nice and full, we let people join back in sort of midway through the season. Obviously that means they're at a massive disadvantage. It's just a case of getting into the tier and getting racing again. So Weber still with the fastest lap, 2:17.790. No improvement on that from anyone out there, although Manson really does seem to be opening up the taps and going after him, absolutely all guns blazing. And with just over 1 hour and 6 minutes left of the race, Ruben Cops, I see in the chat saying about wanting to sort of try and get involved. I mean, just get your hot stints in. There is a possibility you may be able to join before the end. What we tend to do is there is a practice race on a Monday during the Tier 1 stream, and this race going on right now. Oh, sorry, Sunday and Monday there are practice races which can be used for your evaluations. So what you can use is that to do your evaluation race before you get to join. But it's always worthwhile signing up. You never know, you might do really well, you might not do quite as well, but the main thing is you'll always have people around you that are very quickly, very similar pace. Right, so been a change between Kimi and Jimmy Holm. Holm up into 11th, I think, once the timing board sorts his life out. It's definitely showing the homing missile in front of Kimi at the moment in Your Way Racing McLaren. This battle continuing on. There we go, timing screen finally to sort itself out. Nice little squabble going on behind as well. This is between Clifford and Kubacki. Are we going to see a possible move here towards the bus stop? Really good run right in the toe of that Audi. Two beautiful sounding cars, essentially the same engine, but they do have a slightly different note, I think, in game. There you go, confirmed by Morphy that yes, every Sunday and every Monday there is a race that you can use. So, and then they go, Dellenbach, I see in the chat saying they reckon they've got the pace. But yeah, sign up, mate. That's the best way to do it, is sign up. All the links to the Discord and the website should all be below in the description of this video and any of the Sprint Cup Series videos. And there's lots and lots to watch, either whether you're watching Tier 1 on Monday or Tier 2s on Tuesday. But I think we're in Season 13 now, so absolutely billions of seasons to go back and watch if you want an idea of what the pace is like. Yes, both the eval race and the hot stints are necessary. So get your hot stints done, then do an evaluation race, or you can do it the other way if you prefer. But yeah, get your hot stints in and completed. That's the best way of doing it, I always think. And what I would say as well when it comes to hot stints is put in the same amount of practice as you would probably for a race, because there's no point spending hours and hours and hours and days and days and days practicing for your hot stints if that's not the amount of practice and pace that you're going to be able to have during the season. You'll just end up around cars that are too quick, and then you have that sort of thing of being at the back of the field all the time. Similarly, don't sandbag, because there's nothing worse than someone joining you and then they're much quicker. It's no fun for anyone. There's no joy in winning if you already know you're a second a lap quicker than everyone else. There you go. What he said. So back on board with our current leader, and it's still Weber, but being chased down by Manson. Mueller looks to have dropped back off ever so slightly. Oh, here we go though, Manson on a really good run. It is now going to be the chance. Is this the lap where he goes to the outside, has a little look? Can't do anything there, but oh, goodness gracious, right on the back of him now. Who can get the best run through the source and then down towards Arouge. This could be the lap. This could be the one where Weber finally loses his pole position. I say it's still with over an hour of the race left to go. I say normally the races are only 60 minutes long, but every season we do a 90-minute race, sort of a mini endurance. Oh, a bit of a cut from both drivers there, but I think they kept it pretty clean. Both of them absolutely feet nailed to the board on that throttle. I think there is a battle going on way further back. Yes, there is. Oh, this is the battle for 27th place. Oh, sorry, yeah, 28th place, apologies. This must be 27th. What is going on here? There's two cars incredibly close together. Oh, that is a shame. No, they are actually not in a competition with each other. They are two back markers at the moment. So not a live battle for position going on. But Demira is having a nice little battle. Continuing on with Cargaloo and Clifford. Oh, bit of an unsettled car there from Demira. Pushing on forward. Cargaloo trying to catch back up again. Demira. Lots and lots of these green and black Lamborghinis. So many of them with incredibly similar liveries, and lots of them with triple numbers as well. So 999, 333. Lots and lots of them. It's lovely to see. In fact, I'm actually going to see. So Clifford is virtual drivers. Oh, sorry, Demira was virtual drivers. I was seeing if they were on the same team, but they don't appear to be. Going to jump on board again with Kimachik, car number 46. Yabaki chasing after them. The battles have opened up a little bit at this point in the race. You see that Ziege is still sat in the pits, having a bit of an unlucky season this time round. It does happen. Even for the absolute fastest, best drivers, they do occasionally get bad seasons. For anyone that's reasonably new to us, I think a famously bad opening season for Grantis Caracas, who is now a Tier 1 driver and has been for a little while. Famously bad first season. Running out of fuel at Nürburgring and just not having the consistency that he wanted. I think it was 2 or 3 seasons in, and then he moved up to Tier 1. And he's definitely found his home there. It's always a sad shame to see sort of well-known faces leave, but it's always really nice to know that they're moving on up. And occasionally you do get some of the Tier 1 guys demoted down to Tier 2. Yeah, I think we had Bukowski last season, who then did go on to really show why he was a Tier 1 driver and managed to get himself right near the tippy top of the field. He was consistently fast, consistently in the top sort of 5. And then is back in Tier 1 this season. So this is a nice little battle going on. Eclipse Racing Esports, this Honda versus Schaefer. Schaefer actually on a nice little drive at the moment. Continuing to push on forwards. Not much between them, 0.3 of a second between them at the moment. Can they hold on to it through the S's? Really nice to see the Honda here as well. It was obviously very, very popular a season or 2 ago. Yes, just seen it in the chat. No Yorkie this season. Yeah, Matt York. Usually a Tier 2 veteran. I mean, I don't think there's been a season of Tier 2 that I've covered that hasn't had Matt York in it. And this season, for the first time, no Matt York. So I know he's not Tier 1. I haven't actually checked if he's in any of the other tiers, to be fair. But yeah, bit of a shame. He's normally one of those drivers that we always see, and whenever he did well, he was always more than happy to come in the commentary booth afterwards and have a little chat and let us know how his race was going. And that's what we do like. We do love it when our racers make the time to come and chat with us. We're a nice bunch. We like having a chat with them. It's nice to know what's going on, get an insight into the race. So the battle for pole position rages on, still at about 0.5 between them as they go through the comp. And actually, Mueller, I would say, is starting to close up the gap. So this might be something to keep a little eye on further into the race. 57 minutes of the race left. I don't think anyone's done a planned pit stop as of yet. I wouldn't be surprised if there's obviously a few people that have pitted for damage. So this little one going on, Kevin Nars versus Kachowski. I want to give a quick shout out to Morphy, who is one of the moderators. He seemingly is everywhere, all over the Discord, whenever anyone has an issue. And he's in the chat tonight as well, giving loads and loads of information over to people asking questions. He really is one of the sort of powerhouses of AOR. So shout out to Morphy and a racer yourself as well. I know I've definitely commentated on you in previous endurance seasons. And a much, much faster driver than me by an absolute country mile. So, Kachowski still battling on with Niles at the moment. This battle appears to be sort of one of the closest on track, although actually the Kawaki battle is continuing on. Clifford right behind him. This could be Clifford's chance to go round. Looks to the inside. Surely they're not going to go side by side here. No, they're not. He dumps back in behind for Boschemont. I think that would have definitely altered the speed of that Lamborghini. I don't think he's going to quite get the pace he would have wanted, but now really closing on the back of Kimi now. These 5 cars really have just been at it the entire time. There's been nothing between them at all. Having a little bit further look up as well. This is Mikoski versus Jimmy Holm. The VDES racing team of Mikoski. Chased down by the homing missile. Oh, and car number 993. Which was that? That was car number 903. Was just disappeared on my timing screen. That was Schaefer. Oh, into the pits. But was there a crash? Yes, there was. I didn't see what happened, but there was an issue there at the bus stop chicane, and now coming into the pits. I don't think that was a planned stop. I think that was a case of making the best of a bad situation. So, continuing battles, this is the battle for 7th place, Vardier versus Malfroy. This one's been raging on for a long amount of time as well. Oh, both of them going very, very wide. This is a circuit where you have to keep a little bit of an eye on your track limits. In-game isn't quite as savage as it is in real life at the moment. It's sort of one of those things at the moment they've re-changed. They've changed how the track limits work at the current Spa circuit. And you do have to be very, very careful. There's no more, or is it a case of you're being watched? No, the cars have transponders in them. So similar to how it is on in-game. Obviously, the only penalties we will see applied tonight will be in-game penalties. Normally what you see is a drive-through, which would be for track limit infringements, and if you speed in the pit lane, it's a stop-go 30 penalty. Both of them absolutely savage here at Spa. It is absolutely diabolical because the pit is so long. In fact, we'll stick with car number 42 and we'll give you an idea of just how long the pits are. So, pit entry is... Oh, here we go. Actually, look, we can actually stay on board with car number 24. So, still able to go at full speed until they reach the pit line, and then I'll have to get on the brakes, slow down, put on the pit limiter, and roll on in. So I'm going to imagine this is the first planned penalties. Oh, any weight penalties this week? There might be. Actually, I would have to jump on board and look at one of my technical screens for that one. Usually there are weight penalties that carry on from the time before. So we're going to jump on board with Mikoski. To get an idea, the pit exit is up here. It's ginormous. Absolutely diabolically long. It's a good sort of like, I think it's more than 30 seconds just to drive through if you're going flat, if you're going through on the pit limiter. Feels like an absolute age as it's the double pit lane. It's not only the F1 pit lane, but it is also the endurance pit lane. So you have to do the turn at La Source and carry on down the hill. I think possibly one of the biggest pit lanes in all of racing. Pekoski versus Holmes, and at the moment Pekoski holding on to 9th place and doing a sterling job of hanging on to it. And the battle for 2nd place is starting to heat up. Car number 127 nearly on pace. Manson is now under attack from Mueller, and in fact let's jump on Mueller. As here we go. Look, this is the difference between all the. You've obviously got. This is tier 1. I mean tier 2. Sorry, but there are lots of other tiers racing at the moment, and it is dynamic weather. So different tiers are seeing different weather. I'm just seeing it coming in that tier 4. I have a friend who races in tier 4. Apparently, it's on and off rain, and it's sending everyone wild. And I can imagine it is. It's one of those circuits where you really do have to decide: are you going to go for wets or dries? Try and stick it out on slicks, or try and sort of maintain and make your wet tyres survive as it dries up. Again, a circuit that requires so much grip and so much commitment. It can be a bit difficult to decide, and I imagine with on and off rain, it's not going to go well. We saw some fairly wild things going on in at Donington with the weather. Oh, car number 30 really, really closing up now. Right, let's go for Manson. Can we get the rear wing shot? There it is. So super loud volume warning for anyone wearing headphones, but now you get an idea of what it looks like in the rear view mirror of Manson as you watch Mueller coming flying up behind him on the Kemmel Straight. Is he close enough to get in the tow? I don't think he is, but he's already showing the nose to the left-hand side. News from Tier 6, apparently it's dry in Tier 6 and in Tier 5, so Tier 4 appears to be the only ones at the moment having the wet rain. But you can get an idea of just how quick these cars are going when you're in this view. So when you're looking from the cinematic cameras, sometimes you're not able to really get a pure essence of the speed and how much commitment's going through it. But these two absolutely level pegging. It literally looks like that Audi is a toy car stuck on the top of the wing of this McLaren. There's been absolutely no variation of distance between them. As they keep thundering on. This is exactly what Weber wants. Weber wants these two to keep battling it out. That opens up his lead more. I'm going to look down the grid. Obviously we had cars that came into the pits. There was one of our, I think it was, I know Schaefer came into the pit, didn't he, as well? Oh, but Malfoy was that a definitely planned one. And that's probably their first lap out after pitting. So we're interested to see where this car comes out. Loads of clear air around them. So Malfoy might be able to gain a few positions. But that is what you want. When you do your pit, you want to come out into absolutely no traffic whatsoever, if possible. Opens you up to absolutely opening up the taps. You just try and do as many clean laps as possible. Oh, so battle going on here. Oh, here we go into the bus stop. The move's been made. But let's jump back 10 seconds, see if we can get it. It was always going to happen, I think. Number 31 letting 43 through. Yeah, not battling too much for position. Sometimes in these longer races, it's better to just let it happen. In fact, was that a back marker? What's gone on there then? This is Bouquet. Oh, that was Malfoy going through, wasn't it? That was Malfoy. No, it wasn't. So what happened there? That must have been a blue flag thing. Although the timing board was showing me that they were actually racing. So either the timing board is throwing an absolute wobbly, or that wasn't about for position at all. Pekoski and Clifford into the pits now. So two Lamborghinis into the pits. 92 and 999 jump in. Mueller still squabbling round the back of Manson. Quick look at Mueller and see how he's doing in the championship. Mueller currently running in 10th place. He's had an 11th place, a 6th and an 11th again. So he'll be very, very keen to try and get himself on the podium this evening. So he is on the podium currently, but would probably like that second step away from Manson. Jimmy Holm still squabbling on. 9th place now. Kimachik still in 10th. Demira having a nice little battle as well. Kargaloo behind them. And this is the kind of mid-point in the race. 46 minutes, or just over 46 minutes of the race left. This is when pit strategies are probably starting to come into play at this point. Planned pits are no doubt going to begin. Once we start seeing 1 or 2 come in, I almost guarantee the floodgates will open and in everyone will come flooding. Usually it's everyone waiting for someone to pull the trigger, and then immediately everyone goes absolutely wild and starts pouring in. And at the moment, people go, oh, Victor Martin into the pits. So Victor Martin was in 6th place. So it'll be interesting to see how this works out. Waring and Verdier around here. Oh, Verdier into the pits as well. And here we go. Here is Demira coming into the pits as well. I did say once it starts happening, it comes quick. Battle for 2nd place rages on. Here we go. So we've got Martin, Verdier, Hamling, Holm, Demira, Niles, Kajoski, and Cowley all in the pits, and I imagine that number is only going to keep going up. And now you see there is beginning to be traffic in front of them. Now, obviously, it is blue flag traffic, so they will not be defending positions, but they do not have to move out of the way. It's simply a case of they can stick to the racing line and keep going. They just cannot defend positions. Got the pit lane absolutely chock-a-block at the minute. Even more people into the pits. Bryn Alexandra in the pits as well. This seems to be the main squabble. Manson versus Mueller. Little other ones going on track. While this pit is going on, it's right around the timing line, so the timing board goes absolutely off the rails for a little while everyone's pitting. But our leaders decided to stay out longer. It's just coming up to 5 to 8 in game time, so we may start to see a slight decrease in track temperature over the next 44 minutes, but it is showing bright sun, no clouds for the next 30, so looking like, unless it's going to be a little bit of a splash at the end, it's looking like a fairly dry race. So that Ferrari in front really doing well to stay with the leaders, to be honest. Almost a shame that it's not on the same lap at the moment. It is technically a lap back. Josh Waring, 5th place, coming into the pits now. So I'm starting to see some of the top guys coming in. And more coming into Waring, Kimi, Kubaki and Kargaloo. All into the pits. And back markers moving out of the way, and that's a nice thing to see. They don't actually technically have to, but it is nice to see drivers just moving off the racing line, letting these lead battles come through. It is always hugely appreciated, and we do love good sportsmanship here at AOR. That's part of the whole ethos, is sportsmanship like racing. So kind of that odd bit of the race at the minute, where everything kind of just calms down slightly. Lovely livery on that 127 car, isn't it? Gorgeous livery. Big flashing lines and that sort of bronzy gold base. Let's have a little look back through some of the other cars that we haven't really sort of seen too much of. Ah, so here we go. This is car number 312 running in. Oh, Bouquet gets a drive-through penalty. That's going to be for track limits. Easily done here. Oh, so Bouquet, car number 31, that Lamborghini gets a drive-through. And that's going to be for track limits, I would presume. It's the only way I think the in-game can give you a drive-through. Is for exceeding track limits too many times. Obviously, every once in a while, if you make a mistake, you are going to exceed track limits, but what you have to do is make sure you slow down so it is not your fastest time in that corner or on that area. So sometimes you can get warnings without actually getting a proper track limit infringement simply because you are going slower than your best. As long as you don't improve on your best while going wide, it tends to be okay. So this is James Cowley, a bit further up the road, car number 510, 23rd place. Also doing really nicely as well. Our top three still not in yet. Currently having a race all on their own. Someone else who haven't really had much on the stream this evening is Bukowski. He did very briefly. Car number 92. There's a little squabble going on behind now, though. So this is Kubaki versus Kargaloo. Still pushing on. Oh, are we going to see a move around the outside here? Surely not going to try and do it through Blanchimont. No, they're not. They did stay behind. I think there was one flash of the lights, which is absolutely fine. Just a quick flick of the lights to say, as a heads up, I might be coming through. But no, doesn't get the braking done. A little bit more careful with the brakes. Didn't go for the dive up the inside. To be fair, I don't think they could have braked any later than Kubaki there. Really braked as late as possible. Still managed to get the car to the apex, but the Audi looking very strong on the brakes in comparison to Kargaloo's Ferrari. So Bjorkvist into the pits as well. Oh, and there we go. Top three into the pits. Webber, Manson and Mueller all into the pits. So, bar any disasters, they should technically leave the pits in the same order that they are right now. It really comes down to if there's any mistakes. Oh, a little move up the inside, but no, not able to do anything with it. Kargaloo very much on the offensive, putting the pressure on. And Kubaki trying to keep those elbows out as wide as they possibly can. They've got another 38 odd minutes of this race to go. I don't know if this current pace they can maintain their lead over Kargaloo, but those Ferrari tyres being worked absolutely to the maximum. And there is obviously the case if you don't want to burn them out too quickly, otherwise your times will absolutely plummet towards the end. Just having a quick look in the pits. Oh, let's see, they're still getting to their pit boxes at the moment. Well, there is a slight change between them, just while they're in the pits. Now, where's Mueller's pit box? Mueller's pit box is way further back. But they should leave the pit in the same order, as they've all had to be on the pit limiter. But sometimes it's amazing what can happen, whether or not you get your car started as quickly as you possibly can. Some people don't get it done. Mueller already on the floor. Obviously, he got to his pit box first. There we go. And I would imagine that was going to be pretty quick. Jumping on. And yes, they all do leave the pits together. I actually think Mueller may have had an ever so slightly better pit than everyone else there. Or maybe not. No, the gap has now opened up as they're flying out the pit exit. And they all come out into lots of free air. Webber is going to be pushing hard. try and immediately get away. Oh, a little bit deep. A very brief one. No, it's had a disconnect. Okie dokie. Fantastic. Okay. Again, everybody just hang fire a minute. And who is going to be on the phone to their internet provider tomorrow? That would be me. That most certainly will be me on the phone to the internet tomorrow. So apologies about that. Obviously, our leaders came back out the pits in the same order as they joined. I really wish there was some sort of logic to it as well, because it will go weeks and weeks and weeks without any disconnects, and then suddenly you get a whole bunch in a row. So hopefully should be back with the action very, very soon. Again, apologies to everyone at home. You can just hang fire. And as we said earlier, everyone can keep an eye on the absolutely thrilling thumbnail that is up for you at the moment. I think I'm going to have to do a little bit of look into the old hardware issue here, as I genuinely don't see why we keep having these problems. So the internet's not dropping out here, or if it does, it's only for an absolute brief millisecond. I don't think it helps the weather is absolutely atrocious outside. In fact, the last time I had a disconnect was when the weather was really bad. So yes, maybe there is some sort of issue going on outside my control. So thank you for sticking with us. Racing action should be back very soon. And just while I'm here, actually, a good chance to shout out the sponsors. Driver 61 obviously offers driver coaching. Check them out in our description, and also very much worthwhile checking out SIMSOK, which is what all these drivers are actually competing for, is a pair of SIMSOKs, which may seem ridiculous, but they keep coming back and they keep wanting more and more socks. There we go, back with the battle again. So at the moment, there's still some cars out in front that haven't done their pits. Horsey, McLeod, Rutter and Kogut have not done their pits. So provisional lead is Horsey, but our leading pitted car is Webber, which generally we tend to go off the leading pitted car. That tends to be the way it works. And also, obviously, we're leading the race before the pits began. So again, cannot thank everyone at home enough for sticking with us. I'm seeing in the chat, JF, am I still using AOL or have I not paid my provider? Oh God, I hope I paid the provider. I really hope so. Yeah, not sure what's going on with that, but it does seem to be quite weather related, so I think it might be something, maybe hardware issue outside of the house, possibly causing some problems there. Because it is absolutely colossally raining. Actually, there was a weather warning in place in my hometown at the moment. But we keep going, we keep pushing on. Luckily, where it isn't raining is on track. And in 3 minutes' time, there will not be absolutely zero chance of rain in this race. It's been absolutely beautifully hot. The track has dropped 2 degrees since the beginning of the race, so people will have to keep a little bit of an eye on their tyre pressures if they're pitting later. Also, battles going on now. Here we go. So this is Demira versus Jimmy Holm. This is the battle for 14th place. So the battle for 15th place at the moment. And actually, here we go. Bukowski right in this battle as well. And up in front, Clifford versus Kimichik. There's a nice little squabble as they head down towards Eau Rouge and then up through Radion. All of them flat out again. Oh, there's a battle going on in front. Actually, yeah, Clifford goes up the... He is... Oh, this is the issue when everyone's using the same blooming car. Okay, so Clifford tried to go for the move, doesn't get it done, and stays behind Kimichik for now. But we saw them side by side, so obviously that 999 car really is starting to stretch its legs. After in this second stint, it's really sort of trying to get ahead. Oh, and again, really good on the brakes there. He's going to want to try and get past before the rest of them catch up. Kimi, not one to be easily shaken though, will not give up that position easy. Oh, and side by side behind. Oh, there's contact. Jimmy Holm goes round. We're going to jump back on board and we watch that battle unfold. We're going to go for the drone cam above and see if we can spot where that all went a little bit wrong. So, through Bruxelles and coming into speakers now, they both swing in. Oh, very unsettled. Both of them going a little bit wide, but it did look like Bukowski maybe got a little bit unsettled. And then under brakes, and it wasn't Bukowski, was it? It was someone else. Oh, they just spun. Hopefully nothing more than slightly flat spotted tyres there. But believe me, this is a circuit where you will really know if you have flat spotted tyres. Oh, it was Demira, wasn't it? I think was involved in that one. Or was it? It was one of the Lambos. I'm sure in a minute someone's going to yell at me in the chat and say I've used the wrong name. Rutter coming into the pits now. Kogut into the pits as well. So we might actually see the top racers sort of back in their correct positions in a minute. At the moment the gaps have all opened up a little bit. Oh, Josh Waring, I think that must have been a pit lane sort of incident because he is definitely not within 0.1 seconds of anyone at the moment. That's Victor Martin in front. And that gap seems to be coming down pretty quickly, so this might be the outlap for Victor Martin. Possibly not, but that gap seems to have absolutely plummeted down. Horsey into the pits as well now. So just McLeod left to complete their pit stops. Look at Mueller's just set the fastest lap of the race as well. Let's have a look at that. So Mueller running in 5th place at the moment with a 2:17.5. In fact, let's have a little look at Mueller now, who's kind of a little bit on his lonesome at the moment to Manson. After that pit stop, really doesn't seem to be catching up with the back of Manson, although we've just seen, obviously, done the fastest lap this session. Well, this part of the session, so I'm surprised that they're not pushing ahead quite as they were. And it seems to be that Webber and Manson seem to be the two that are closing up on each other at the front end, the pointy end of the field. Further back, everyone's sort of fairly opened up. And we've had a few people leave the server over the space of the night. There's 30 people, 29 cars on track, 30 people in the server. And that's Ziege, who obviously had issues earlier on, has retired to the pits. Real shame to see, but the commitment to stay in the pits the entire time and wait out the race rather than leave is commendable. Talking to providers, I think I'm with TalkTalk, so if anyone's got any better options that they might know of, do let me know. I always find it crazy that sometimes I can be putting out this stream at 1080p and 60 frames per second, and plus I can have another 1080p stream going out on Discord as well for people to be watching along, other commentators and such. And that runs absolutely fine, and it might run for 8 hours straight on an endurance race and have no problems. And then we come into here with 90 minutes of racing and we have 2 disconnects. Who knows? Who knows what's going on? I reckon somewhere there is someone that keeps unplugging and plugging it back in. I will not put the blame on my partner. Either that or she's just trying to watch something on TV and I'm hogging all the internet and all the bandwidth doing this. For you lovely, lovely people at home, so I hope it's all looking as good and as crisp as it can be for you. So at the moment, no real super close battles. Morphy asking, have I got full fibre yet? I actually don't think I do, to be fair. Dumoulin still hasn't done his drive through penalty, 3-1-2, I would have thought he'd probably get into the point where he has to do it, or he's going to get disqualified. Where is Demure? He's still out on track. Or is this a new one? Maybe that is a different strategy. I thought it was someone else. Oh no, it wasn't Demulin earlier on, was it? It was someone else that we saw them pick up the drive-through. But Demulin picked up a drive-through penalty. That's an absolute monstrous penalty. Tucker, a fellow southwesterly person. He knows what the internet's like. Little battles going on throughout. We're going to stick with Demulin for a minute as he completes this lap. And I think that is now everyone. Oh yeah, there, McLeod into the pit as well. So that is now everyone that has completed the stop. I've just realised it's saying that Horsey currently is on pole, which... Is that right? I don't remember. It's always been Webber, Manson and Mueller that has been absolutely flying. But somehow, Horsey's in pole position and he's completed his pit stop. So either that was the absolute pit strategy of the century, or the timing board's throwing an absolute wobbly. Where has Horsey come from? That was absolutely stunning. If he's just done that on strategy, hasn't he? That's incredible. I mean, putting in absolutely fantastic lap times. His last one was a pit. Oh, he didn't change tyres. He's one of the drivers that just went for a splash and dash and didn't change tyres. So a really quick pit stop. But with just shy of 25 minutes of the race left, that's a really long way to go. What is his lead at the moment, though? It's 4.4 seconds. If this works out for Horsey, that is absolutely stunning. If they can carry their tyres all the way to the end, it would be a masterclass in tyre preservation. I imagine McCoskey in Tier 1 will be very, very excited to have a chat about tyre preservation, as he is somehow manages to keep his tyres in the absolute perfect operating window the entire race. Now we'll never know how. What's it down to now? And then lap times. So that last one was a 2:18.8, and Webber behind it a 2:17.4. So I would be very, very surprised if he can hang on to this pole position. But if they can do it, that is an absolutely stunning effort. Mega, mega idea to get that done, to not go for the tyres. I mean, we spoke about it pre-race. We said that maybe someone would go for it. This is the only race where there is not a mandatory tyre change. And I don't imagine a lot of people would have seen that. You have to make sure you look at all the regulations for each race. It's worthwhile looking into. Sometimes there might be the odd little slip-up somewhere in the regulations, or just a change. This evening it is intentional, but it's always worth keeping an eye. But still looking pretty planted at the moment, and they are up on their previous lap by 0.2 at the moment. 0.3 now, so it's a bold strategy, but I'm not sure it's going to play out all the way to the end. This is the big shake-up I wanted to see this evening. I mean, we didn't get the weather, and we're not going to get any weather change. It is going to be sunny the whole way through now. This was the big shake-up I wanted to see. And I'm a little bit lost for words. If this works, this is the play of the day, this. So let's have a little look and just see what Horsey's been up to. Horsey running second in the championship. He's had a third and a first. And then he could not start the last race at Laguna Seca. So this is the kind of boost his championship needs. The championship leader currently, Holm, is... Oh my god, where is Holm in the championship? He is in 14th at the moment. And then you've got Kellaway near them as well, and there is no Kellaway here this evening. Weber obviously running in second place, so he is ahead of him in the championship already, so he'll very much want to outscore Weber. Manson, this is his first race with us, I believe. I imagine Morphy will immediately tell me I'm wrong on that one, but I can't see him on any of the previous races, unless he was with us last time, and I just is where I had my week off and wasn't able to... Oh, Manson, no, hasn't been able... This is his first race. So currently 45th in the championship. Well, Manson just set the fastest lap. That's 2:17.332. Well, that was set a lap or two ago. But that gap for Horsey, still over 3.5 seconds, so a little bit of an improvement. It really depends how much Webber and Manson start squabbling. If they start squabbling too much, then that could really throw everything up in the air, and that really could hand the win to Horsey. So, nice little battle going on here. Rutter versus Alexandra. Move down towards the bus stop, tries it around the outside under brakes. Doesn't quite get the run they wanted. Oh, but unsettled there. I think that was Demunlin we just saw coming into the pits in the background as well. Yes, it was coming in to do the drive-through. But Alexandra now starting to look a little bit weaker than they were this time a lap ago. Are we going to see a move here? I don't think we're going to see it through Radion. It might be the run up the Kemmel Straight where we see the McLaren hunker down and get in the slip. Both take a very, very tight line. Is the McLaren close enough? Is it in the toe? Is it able to get closed up when they get to the top of the hill? I don't think they are. They're going to be sort of pretty much in the same position they were. The gap did close up a little bit, but not enough. So while these two squabble, Bryn in front of them is trying to make the most of it and get away as best they can. So yeah, Alexandra doing a very good job of not over-defending at the moment, just trying to stick to the line, keep putting in those fast laps, making sure the car's in the right place though, not leave anything open. Oh, kind of a 333 goes off. And where was 333? That's Demira. Let's see if we can jump back with that one. Where was that to? I think that was Hall, wasn't it? So what happens here? Oh, just gets unsettled on that curve. That's a big slide. Those tyres are going to have monstrous flat spots on them. And I imagine they'll be able to feel that every single time they go around a corner now. They'll get a horrendous vibration coming through the wheel. Did it a long time ago back in my Xbox racing days where I did a big slide in a very similar place. And then yeah, as I was then on my run through Blanchimont, the car was absolutely going mad. Felt like I was hitting sausage curbs the entire way around that left-hander. And speaking of Blanchimont, here we are. So the gap's opened up a little bit. I very much doubt McLaren's going to be able to do anything on the braking here. No, closes up a little bit, but not too much. And no mistake this time round from Alexandra. Manages to keep it much, much cleaner and tidier. So the battle continues. So keeping an eye on the gap at the front. Porsche's gap now down to 2 seconds. So it is slowly coming down. Just about 18.5 minutes left of the race. I somehow don't think that position is going to last the entire race though. I don't see those tyres being able to compete with the pace. It's going to take some very, very wide driving to keep Webber, Manson and Mueller behind them. Mueller has really dropped off the back of Manson now, hasn't he? Just about 3 seconds between them, or 2.7 at time of looking into it, but that gap certainly opened up. Mueller not able to take the fight into this final stint. But this is the close one. This is Alexandra versus Rutter. Well, it's looking like Rutter looking a little bit more composed. The Lamborghini gets a little bit sideways again. Possibly working those rear tyres a little bit too hard. Are we going to see anything here? Into the braking zone again. Thought about it, closed right up. Maybe just trying to get under that rear wing and unsettle the back of the car. Super close to head down towards the S's. Are we going to see anything now? Looks to the inside, decides not to, gets in the brake, goes back out to the racing line, swings it back in. Trying to maintain the pace. Very, very difficult to attack and also be looking ahead and trying to maintain your pace, because you usually have to go off the racing line to actually make the move. Rutter really starting to show the nose. I imagine Alexandra will be starting to worry about this now. Possible move here. So coming up towards the bus stop chicane again. This is the closest they've been in a little while. McLaren goes to the outside. Can't get the overlap. Can they get a bit of a switchback? Again, the Lamborghini looks a little bit unsettled. But the two of them absolutely neck and neck as they pull away. And they stay at the stalemate for another lap. Oh, here we go though. Schaefer versus Kogert. Absolutely nothing between them. Porsche looks to the inside in the braking zone. Can he get there? Oh, there's a tiny touch. It definitely wasn't intentional, and he does seem to give the position back, so I don't think there'll be any sort of post-race penalties for that one. Purely a racing incident at that point. But yeah, Kogert did seem to have a really good run, although it was already looking up the inside under braking here. The Ferrari gives him space. Credit where credit's due. They gave each other a little bit of room there. And it looks like, there we go, Schaefer does get the move done before they get into Eau Rouge. Flying up the hill, it's now going to be a big cut there from Kogert. Massive cut, and I imagine that's probably at least a track warning. Depends how many they've built up over the last hour and 15 minutes. But that Porsche of Schaefer really already pulling away, doing an absolutely fantastic effort to open up that gap, try and make the most of it. So on to the battle in front of them again. Still Alexandra holding on to it. Rutter even closer again now. Can he do anything on the brakes here? Looks to the outside again. I think they're starting to just trip each other up a little bit, and I'm seeing McLeod behind them starting to lick his lips in excitement. Like a dog outside a butcher's shop, he knows the prize is waiting. He just needs for them to trip each other up and drop that steak. And there was a mistake from Alexandra, and now they're side by side, giving each other room. A little bit of a squeeze from Alexandra on Rutter there, and he's holding onto the inside. Rutter trying to maintain pace around the outside here. They're side by side through Blanchimont. Rutter dips back in behind, but super wide from Alexandra, and now Alexandra loses not one but two positions. And there's no way. Oh, goodness gracious, that came together, didn't it? Right, we're going back. We're going back on that one because we missed what happened there. McLeod tries to go up the inside, and I don't think Rutter had any idea that McLeod was there. I imagine McLeod would be slightly annoyed about that one. Bit of an awkward one. Does get himself going again, but all that hard work has suddenly come undone. The timing board was saying there was a close battle there, but apparently not. But Malfroy, though, is still squabbling away with Hamlin. Oh, hang on. This is the one to keep an eye on. Here we go. Webber versus Horsey. So this is the man that made the biggest gamble and didn't change the tyres is now being chased down by Webber, who essentially has held on to the lead nearly all of this race, only to be dethroned by Horsey. But what's going to happen here in the brakes? McLaren goes to the inside, so it's got the optimal line, but it goes deep on the brakes. Nearly causing it. Oh, a little bit of a rub there. Just the tiniest little rub. And I think that will be all right. I imagine that will just go down to a racing incident or nothing at all. The McLaren just outbraking himself, but tries to get back up the inside. What a move! Goes back up the inside of the turn one. He's desperate to try and regain the position. He knows if he can get in front, he can just slow down Webber just enough through here. And really, Webber must know that all he needs to do is really wait for the opportunity, then go around. But he goes way wide, super wide. Webber really is risking a lot here. He's risking a track limit warning by going this far outside the lines. That may have been slower than normal. So, throwing it in. Oh, Jasper Sheldon, that's just mean. Come on. Obviously with commentary. Surely they prefer it with commentary. I hope so, anyway. So, battle for the lead is now a three-way battle. So, Horsey, Webber, Manson. I'm only joking, Jasper Sheldon, don't you worry. So yeah, Horsey, Webber, Manson. This is now the three-way battle, and this is what Mueller will want as well. He will want these cars to stack up. The Audi looking to get an opportunity. I'm really, really impressed by Horsey's racecraft at the moment, managing to hold on to this position a couple of times. We've seen people making a move. I promise, Jasper Sheldon, no insult at all. I am merely playing. Don't you worry, it's all good. Pushing on. Horsey just about managing to hold on to it. He's going to struggle here with Bonchemon. You can see he goes a little bit wide, ends up in the gravel. And that's out in the marbles. He's managing to just about hold on to second position. But Weber goes through. Manson looking to do the same. Is he going to be able to do anything under braking? We've already seen how good the McLaren's been on the brakes, and there's Weaving going over, and McLaren going to the outside. Again, super deep. Don't think they're going to make that work twice in a row. No, they're not. They lose another position. Horsey is absolutely driving the tyres off this car, but I just don't think it's enough. Manson now within striking range of Webber still as well. Mueller's caught back up with these two pretty quickly. So jumping on board with our leader, Webber versus Manson versus Horsey versus Mueller. Well, to be fair, Mueller did not get a good run at all then through turn one, the source. Very surprised at how far back the Audi suddenly is. There's Christian Mueller, and looking at his lap times, last time round was a 2:18.4. So he's still outlapping Webber and Manson, but something happened at the beginning of the lap that really seemed to kill a lot of his pace. And I've got to give credit where credit's due to Horsey, who is still holding on pretty well. His last lap was a 2:20, and I think that is just simply down to all that time lost in the chicane. And this is the one. This is the one to keep an eye on. Manson versus Webber. 0.6 between them at the moment. Less than 10 minutes of the race left. Okay, just seeing it in the chat that someone is letting me know about the pronunciation of car number 30. So it's Mueller as opposed to Mueller. I do apologise. I've only just noticed a little umlaut above the U. So yeah, Mueller. I will do my best to force that into my vocabulary. So at the moment, this little squabble seems to have settled down just a little bit. Battle that is raging on though. Hamlin versus Malfroy. 0.4 of a second between them. And a couple of little battles really starting to heat up in this last 10 minutes. This is usually when people try and pick up the pace a little bit. They really do decide, right, that's it. I haven't got long. I haven't got much chance. Let's really push for it and see if I can gain the position. So we're coming down towards the bus stop. Are we going to see anything here? Lambo goes to the outside. Does close up a lot under braking. Possibly going to get a superior exit because of that wider entry line. Not quite. You can also see further down the grid as well. It looks like Kimi and Clifford are having a good squabble again. Oh, it's a three-way battle. Kimi, Clifford and Cargaloo. Another racer doing an absolutely fantastic job. Kimi has been defending for a long old time. Oh, I'm now being told apparently I'm pronouncing it even worse. Okay, this is something I will I will message the driver themselves and I will get the correct pronunciation. So for the rest of the race, we're just going to go with Mueller because that is what everyone at home has been used to. But I do apologise if that is a mispronounced name. But yeah, we will do our best. Oh, there we go. Clipper tried to go around the outside, didn't quite do it. I think they always slightly outbroke themselves, and that has really let them open to Cargalu's attack. Gaps at the front have opened up a little bit. This seems to be the one to keep an eye on for now. This little squabble. It's definitely more Cargalu versus Clifford now. Kimmy getting a little bit of a chance to try and run away up the road. The Horsey-Mueller gap is really starting to close up as well now. Dipping just below a second. Oh, there's a Malfoy battle still raging on as well. We'll keep an eye on these two. I think we might see a move down towards Blanchimont. It's definitely a run, but the Lambo's going to end up on the outside. Oh, kind of a 333 again. Seeing that car go off, we saw it go sliding off earlier, and I wonder if maybe that's a case of trying to run those slightly damaged tyres is now causing issues. 5 minutes 30 left of the race. Malfoy versus Hamling. This is the closest battle, as we can see. Kimmy started to pull away, and also Jonathan Clifford versus Cargalu as well is very, very tight. And both these battles very, very close on the circuit, to be fair. James Cowley a bit further back, having a nice squabble. That's with Bjorkvist. And also Bryn bringing up behind as well. So into this last 5 minutes, oh, Alavi picks up a drive-through penalty. That'll be pretty much that race done this late in the race. There's no chance to recover from it. Some slightly varying lines coming through there through the bus stop chicane. Currently, Horsey still holding on to 3rd place. Oh, car 333 into the pits. Ended up teleporting in. I think they may have had another incident again. Sticking with the battles for now, though. Bjorkvist versus Bryn. Who's going to get the better run? Oh, I want to say that Bryn got a better run, but that was with quite a big cut. But Demira into the pits as well. What's happened there? Oh, that was the 333 car, wasn't it? Yeah, that was 333. So, yeah, starting to come into the pits. Are we going to see a move here at the top of the hill into Lacombe? No. Yes, gets it done. Holds on to it. Although the Honda coming back knows the road goes to him. And it does hold onto it once again. Is there going to be anything down the hill towards Bruxelles? No, manages to maintain it, gets the car stopped in just the right place, takes the momentum away from Bryn. Bjorkvist manages to hold on to that spot. Just a little bit longer. They're super defensive. Bryn goes to the outside. Going to be risky going too wide through here. Oh, there is a slightest rub. Neither of them wanting to give up, but Bryn does just about get through and keeps charging on, and now manages to get in front of the Honda. It's going to be hard to pull that one back, I think. That was quite a nice little squabble we saw. Great car control between them. Oh, Horsey under attack. This is at the top of Radion. Mueller pushing forward. Can he do anything in the braking zone here? He does go up the inside. The Audi does get it stopped. Oh, but the Porsche fighting back in a car that's really struggling for grip. And you see he does actually get a little bit unsettled there. Is he going to try and do anything down the hill now? Towards Bruxelles, I don't think he can. On the brakes. Oh, just gets the car stopped, but does go sideways. I think this is the issue. The tyres on that car are absolutely giving out. So the braking distances are absolutely wild for him. So he has dropped to 4th place. It's still been the gamble still pulled off really well. But yeah, it has definitely dropped down. I would love the opportunity to speak with the Optimum Motorsport driver, Porsche, post-race. But for now, with just under 2 minutes of the race left, Webber is on pole. Manson second place. It's still showing Horsey in second and third, but he's definitely not. It is Mueller in third place. There we go. Now the timing board sorts itself out. Can Mueller do anything now to try and close up that 2-second gap to Manson? I don't think he's going to have time, as this will be the penultimate lap. It's going to be this and one more, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, Kimmey under attack from Clifford now, and we saw Clifford get past Carglou not that long ago. Oh, sorry, it wasn't a change for position, was it? Those two were just squabbling it out. But Kimmey now under attack from Clifford. So it's kind of a 46 versus the 999. Two similar cars. Olavi appears to be... Oh, Bjorkvist has a drive through. So after that absolutely fantastic drive that we saw him going up against Bryn, actually now ends up with a drive through penalty, which is absolutely monstrous. Again, I think if he goes all the way to the finish with the drive through, it ends up being a time penalty, but I think it's fairly substantial. So yes, 32 seconds left on the clock. This is the final lap of the race. So, Kimmey, Clifford, Carglou, these three squabbling it out. Holding it together once again. Approved ready on for the last time. Still pushing on. The time is about to go to 0 right now, so that's it. So as they cross the line, oh, what's going on here? We've got, now so this is Webber coming up behind a back marker. I would imagine the back marker probably will move out the way, seeing it is the final lap, and that is pole 1 sitting behind them. This might be the only place where I would say excessive flashing is okay. If you are the last lap and you're in pole position, and there we go, moves off the racing line and lifts off the throttle to let the car past. That's what we want. That is what we like to see. Nice, clever manoeuvring from cars. It's predictable moving from cars that are blue flagged. So Webber coming across the final turn. They say he's 4th in the championship at the moment, but he's going to see himself climbing up the ranks, I am sure. And there we go, across the line to take pole position. Manson coming across in 2nd, Mueller in 3rd. And fair play to Horsey, who crosses the line in 4th place, just outside the podium, but massive effort from him. Victor Martin coming across the line as well in 5th, Josh Waring in 6th. As the battle's continuing on, they're jumping back down to, this was Kimmey, Clifford and Carglou. Those three squabbling out all the way to the line. No changes of position there though. There we go, the celebratory flash of the lights from Clifford. Is there anyone else that's on a real close battle? Oh, here we go. Here's a nice one. Well, it's saying Carnap 510 and Bryn. Yeah, so this is Cowley versus Bryn. Super close. Are we going to see anything in the braking zone here? Bryn did look to the inside, but wasn't able to outbrake Cowley. The Ferrari, a very strong platform. Maybe not here this evening, but in general, a very, very strong platform and unlikely to be able to outbrake that car. So a few cars left to come across the line. Rutter comes across it as well. So who else have we got left out there? Kogut will be our last driver across the line this evening, coming home in 20th place. And we will check the post-race to see what's gone on. So here we go. Final racer coming across the line. And so going out, obviously, on the air. Hopefully our top 3 drivers will join us in the commentary box in just a moment. Once we get this bit of the race actually done, I will make sure I get a snapshot of the official results. So we will get that information. So there we go. For everyone at home, there is the official race results. How they crossed the line at the very end. And let's make sure we can get everybody in the commentary booth, and hopefully our top 3 drivers will all be willing to have a nice chat with us. So let's move across to a slightly nicer image rather than just looking at absolute rubbish for a little while. We'll sit here and hopefully we've got some people queuing up for a chat with any luck. Let's have a look. Who have we got? We've got Horsey. We've got Horsey's running in 4th. So yeah, we'll pull him in. We're going to pull him in for this one. Good evening, Horsey. Can you hear us? Fantastic. I mean, what a gamble on the tyres from you. I mean, that's what we presumed. It was a case of you didn't go for tyres in the pit. Are we correct in thinking that? What's going on here? For some reason, we're not getting any audio coming through. Oh, no, it's on my end. For some reason, it is not. That's right. 1 second. I believe it is just a case of it's throwing an absolute wobbly for whatever reason. ACC comms chat. It should be that one. It really should be that one there. 1 second, sir. Let's try that again. Say something out loud.
Hello.
There we go. That's coming through. For some reason, the OBS was throwing a wobbly. So, yeah, just to confirm, you were saying that you did not go for a tyre change. You didn't change.
Yes, that's correct. No tires, only fuel.
That
like Lightning McQueen.
like Lightning McQueen. Yeah, that was an incredibly brave decision. I don't think you were the only person out there that made that choice. Was that a decision you were always going to go for, or was it a bit of a sort of a mid-race gamble? I mean, presume you sort of decided you'd do it from the very beginning.
It was a mid-race gamble because that on the last stint I should be able to gain on the cars ahead, like 5 seconds, because I had less fuel than them. And less worn tires, not less fuel, less worn tires. But when I saw that I got 6 seconds behind the leader, I decided to go for a gamble, and because I figured that this would be the only way I could win, and I did fight back hard. I hope it was clean.
Yeah, I mean, from what we could see, what you were doing on circuit seemed very clean. There was a couple of times I think your tyre sort of gave way beneath you in the braking zone. I think it was through Bruxelles. In the last couple of laps, there was a bit of a moment where I think everyone at home took a collective, massive inhale of breath as we thought you might catch the back end of one of the Lamborghinis. But no, you managed to keep it together. And it nearly got you on the podium. It very, very nearly got you on the podium. Are we possibly going to see in the future you try and use this strategy on the longer open fuel strategy races?
It is well within the range of possibility, but the main problem here was that I didn't have the outward pace to challenge my opponents ahead. So this is what I have to work on at Spa, but especially at Spa, because I do have other circuits I'm struggling at, like Kota, even though I like that circuit. But as for Spa, I hate this circuit and I'm also bad at it, so it's the best combo imaginable. So yeah, it might be a possibility to go for it again.
Well, I mean, well, it'll be next season now where we have an open fuel strategy. If you can pull it off again, I mean, you really are going to get quite a name for yourself. As I say, you've been a great racer all season, to be fair. Running second in the championship, you definitely outscored Jimmy Holm this evening, who was leading the championship going into this. So I'm just going to have a quick look at the finishing point. So Jimmy Holm ended up finishing, well, outside the top 20. So a massive points gain you've got over the leader. Everyone around you, obviously, Weber did come in first, but he is currently sitting. Oh God, where is he in the championship? He's got a long way down. I think it's a case of somewhere around here. I've probably scrolled right past his name. But say massive outscoring your main championship rivals. So yeah, hopefully sees you on top of the championship. I think it might put you up top. Only Weber, who's in fourth, might be outscoring you, but everyone else kind of around didn't do so well this evening. So yeah, I think that puts you in pretty good place. Are you looking forward to a wet Brands Hatch next week?
50% of it, if you could just leave out the wet part, then I would be ecstatic to race there.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly a circuit that lots of people do enjoy. But yeah, in the wet, I think turn one might be a little bit interesting. I think even if you qualify right at the very front, I think it's still going to be very, very scary driving to be done. And then it's Snetterton after that as well. Again, not a very well-known circuit, even though it's been on the game for quite a while now. It's certainly not a track that people go to that often for championships. Have you got much experience at Snetterton?
I actually raced there quite a few times, even though it's the least popular circuit, I believe, in ACC. Maybe the second least because Zolder is in the game, but who cares about Zolder? Yeah, I like that circuit. I think it has a really good flow. People just don't realize it. I mean, I get it. I do get the reason why they're not racing at it, because it's not that good of a racing venue, not a good venue for racing. But for hot lapping and some casual stuff, it's one of the best, if not the best, places to go. Also a school corner name, so that's a plus.
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to be a case of it's a race of attrition. I think at Snetterton, it's going to be who can survive the longest without going off and making a mistake. But the fact that you're going into it with positivity, I think, speaks volumes about your racecraft. And I say, obviously, before this race, you were sitting second in the championship, and it's still going to see you very much near the tippy top. What are your goals moving forward? Are you looking to try and get into Tier 1? Are you going to hope to stick around Tier 2 for a little while and build your craft a bit more? Or what sort of long-term plans?
Well, as for long-term plans, I do want to get into a team. That's the main goal, because I heard from George's team that if you finish in the top 10, or top 10ish in Tier 1, then you might get scouted or something. So that's the ultimate goal. Of course, I'm nowhere near that pace, so I still got a lot to improve. But that would be the ultimate goal. And for next season, I will be looking forward to go up to Tier 1. I don't know if it will be possible. It's probably going to depend on the hot stints. If it's killing me, then I'm pretty much screwed because the McLaren is not good there. But yeah, I do want to win the championship this season and go up to Tier 1 next season.
Fantastic. Well, so that is definitely the mindset to have, a positive mindset and a proper goal in mind as well. That is definitely things to do. So probably going to call it a night at this point. Any final words before we say goodbye?
Please get me a shower.
You're slightly warm, are you?
Yeah, it was scorching hot in my room, especially that I only have one ceiling fan. So that was another bit of, let's say, realism put into the mix.
Oh, fantastic. I think me and you have had very different weather. I've had torrential weather and rain outside my door. So, yeah, that's what I've had all evening. So it's actually reasonably cool where I'm commentating from at the moment. Normally I'm sat in sort of high 30s, sweating as I'm sat here in the comms box. But no, it's been actually quite pleasant this evening. Right, well, thank you ever so much. Go and enjoy a shower and a cold pint if you're old enough to have one. And yeah, fantastic racing, and hopefully to see you sort of up in the top 5 again next round.
Yep, thank you. And I'm only 70, so I will get a non-alcoholic beer probably.
Fair enough. Anything nice and cold, I think, is the order of the day. Thank you very much, mate.
Yep.
Cheers.
Thank you. Cheers.
Okay, looking as if at the moment that is it for interviews. Doesn't appear that anyone else has been quite brave enough to jump into the interview box. Going to do my very best to try and get people to jump in a bit more often in the future. But absolutely fantastic racing all throughout the night. And so a quick run through the cars as they cross the line. This may change with post-race penalties, but just an idea. So we'll run through the top 10. So it was Weber on pole, Manson in second, Mueller in third, Horsey fourth, Martin fifth, Josh Waring in 6th, Verdier in 7th, Malfoy 8th, 9th was Hamling, and Clifford in 10th. So real fantastic effort for all those drivers. Everyone that survived the full 90 minutes of Spa, hats off to them. It is a hard circuit to survive for this long. They had to plan for changeable weather. Luckily, it stayed dry for them the whole way through, unlike Tier 4, where they got a bit soggy apparently. But yeah, thank you ever so much for joining us this evening. Apologies about the disconnect. Quick shout out to our sponsors once again. So that is Driver61, and also a shout out to SIMSOK as well. Do feel free to hit up the Discord. Everything should be in the description. And we'll be back on Monday, same time, same place, for Tier 1, and then Tier 2 again on Tuesday. So thank you ever so much for joining us this evening, and we will see you in just under a week's time.
This Noah's Ark 2x2 formation. Road change down, we go racing for the first time this season. 3 hours of GT action, it's go.
It's very tight as they come down. Group of cars coming in. This has all got trouble written all over it. There's a G3 car.
Drop downhill there, head towards the Aqua Minerale. Imola, of course. There's another one off through the gravel. As wide as possible as they drop downhill, putting that from the inside line. Yes,
Oh, he did.